Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is our tour through my slightly less visible Penguin Classic wall. I'm still experimenting all the time. I set aside an hour every day experimenting on audio and visual and whatnot, all because my iPhone 7S just died. It didn't give me any hint that it was feeling ill. It didn't give me any chance to save it or do anything wrong. It just died. It's just a fused piece of plastic. Which leaves me with several dozen alternatives for filming videos, but I'm still trying to figure out which ones I like. By far, going by just by plebiscite, going by your own reactions, by far, the best reaction is what I'm using for this video, which is my MacBook Pro, which I filmed thousands of videos on, so I know that it works. I know how to do it. The reaction from via comments and also via email. I leave my email on every video. The huge majority of people have said, this is fine, the video is really good, and more importantly, the audio is really good. I guess that's a persistent problem with my cell phone recordings. One way or another, I am still exploring. One of the reasons, of course, that I was all enamored of using a cell phone to do my recordings. I think that the quality is much better on a cell phone. Even my cell phone, my iPhone 6, which I used for one video, I think yesterday or the day before. And when I look back at those videos, I ordinarily don't look back at my videos, but for these, it was literally to check the quality of what you're seeing. And I thought the video on the cell phone was just easily better than, I think it was a Daily Penguin. I thought it was just easily better than anything that the laptop has done or any tablets have done. But I will keep futzing around. In the meantime, I'm hoping that this is at least passable. And our penguins have been all over the map lately. I think they will continue to be. And today is a work of philosophy. I have some of them. Some works of philosophy are by historical figures I find fascinating. Some works of philosophy are by writers who manage to retain a fairly inviting prose line, even though they're writing gobbledygook. Some are a combination of the two, like today's. And some are just Penguin editions that I really want to have. I'm not going to have these works of philosophy in any other edition. I'm not interested in them. But the Penguin edition, at least I'll have it represented in my collection. I can read the introduction. I can read the notes. I can even dip into the work itself. Today's work, I have read this author front to back. I've read everything this author's written, and I don't hate his writing, but I don't love it either, not in this volume. This is William James, the interesting James brother, and this is Pragmatism and Other Writings. And the other writings sometimes have mathematical graphs, and the Tigers of India is in here, and a bunch of other stuff. His meditations on the soul and on the personality, but it's mainly about pragmatism, a splinter of philosophy that William James is probably one of the foremost proponents of it in the relatively modern era. That started out as a kind of mild protest against exactly the kind of airy up in the sky, about nothing, say nothing, touch on nothing, just verbiage that I criticize philosophy for being. And it's why I hate this genre, because it is completely useless. It's not about anything. And this pragmatism, in its 19th century incarnation, was kind of sort of born in a kind of sort of riposte to that by concentrating on pragmatics, by concentrating on the empirical, by concentrating on the demonstrable and the touchable and the feelable, as opposed to how many philosophers can dance on the head of a pin or whatnot. It quickly metamorphosed into just another kind of gobbledygook nonsense, just another kind of rhetorical diarrhea. But it didn't start out that way, and no one in the James family was ever capable of writing that prose that was completely worthless in William James. I don't know how much that came out on audio. That was a military helicopter. Who knows where it's going? William James is a fantastic writer. I love his letters. I love a variety of religious experience, which I have somewhere here. I don't have all the Jameses together, and I should. This I probably return to less often, because even in its early stages, pragmatism is still a slice of philosophy, and philosophy is a complete waste of time. just you read 10 pages at the most, struggling through 10 pages. It's not a struggle to read William James, but you struggle through 10 pages of any typical work of philosophy and realize that you have read nothing. Nothing. That you have read nothing. That it's like the literary equivalent of an attack of gas after a meal, where there's lots of activity, lots of discomfort, but no substance whatsoever. So when I returned to this volume, I largely returned to the introduction, the notes, that sort of thing, rather than, I should tell you, this is by Giles Gunn, is the person the master of ceremonies for this volume. I largely don't return to this to read William James doing philosophy. I'd much rather read him doing anything else. And his letters, the James family letters, are a treat to read. There have been a number of big collections of them, well worth your time. Not sure that this is. When it comes to a Penguin Classic recommend, I'm not sure that this is a recommend. I can't in good conscience recommend that you spend time reading any work of philosophy, no matter how much I might like its author. It's all a waste of time. And I'm not saying this is a complete waste of time. I've mentioned that during this Penguin Classic tour, I am curating this wall as well as narrating it. I'm pulling stuff out that I'm not going to keep. I may talk about it with you, but I'm not going to keep it. And I hesitated for a minute on this volume, but I am going to keep this. I don't have any other editions of Pragmatism. I don't have any collections of it from other people. I think there might be other practitioners collected in this volume, in addition to James. But this is absolutely all that I need on the subject. I will keep it because you need something. But we will encounter this author again on slightly firmer ground. And that is your Daily Penguin. I like this volume. I certainly return to it for all of the critical stuff that Giles Gunn brought to it. But I'd much rather read about William James when it comes to philosophy than read him on philosophy. No matter how interesting or deep a thinker he was, it all just veers off into the nonsense, into the rhetorical garbage. But anyway, that is your Daily Penguin. Sorry for the absence of Frida. She is not asleep. She is sulking. She didn't want to be on camera. She's not talking to me at the moment because I gave her a bath earlier today. It's soaringly hot today in Boston, and I noticed that she was scratching and itching at herself more than usual in the last few days, and that's because it's boiling hot. It's boiling hot. It's been soppingly humid. That will work on a dog's skin, on a dog's hair, on all the critters that live on a dog. It's no more comfortable for them to go a week without any kind of a bath or shower in such weather than it is for a human to do it. So she needed it, and once again, half her sulking is directed inward because she feels like this is an affront to her dignity. And of course, when I'm holding her by the scruff of the neck and blasting her all over with warm water, and she doesn't have her magnificent mustachios anymore. She doesn't have her magnificent bell-bottom fluff on her paws. The bell-bottom fluff on her tail is gone. It looks like, as me Sainted Ma would have said, she looks like a drowned rat. And that does not comport with her dignity at all. So she feels like she should resent it. But more and more, the more we do it, the more I get the distinct impression that she realizes that she likes it, that it actually feels good. Not just afterwards, when there's no more itching, but during, that it feels good. I feel certain that she is at war with herself, but she didn't want to be on camera anyway, because she's still a little damp. Boy, oh boy, does Schnauzer hair dry fast. I thought my hair dried fast, but it's incredible. She is not sopping wet for hours like a certain basset hound I could name. When I used to... Giving Lucy, my basset hound, a bath was World War III. It was just unbelievable. She fought as hard as she could. She thought sure that I was trying to kill her. It didn't matter that we'd known each other for 10 years. It didn't matter that I was at her total beck and call and did whatever she wanted. She still fought and moaned and groaned like I was trying to kill her. And when it was over, the folds and valleys and arroyos of her flab and fat would be running water out of them for hours. It was impossible to dry her. Frida, it's over in no time at all. It was the whole experience from start to finish was probably 15 minutes. So, but anyway, she'll be back in tomorrow's Daily Penguin, I think, unless tomorrow reaches 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think there's a chance it might. And if it does, she might not want to be on camera. I might not want to be on camera either. But anyway, that's your Daily Penguin. It is Pragmatism and Other Essays by William James. I wish that I could praise it higher than I can, but unfortunately no. So I'm going to wrap this up, and we'll hope for a better, we'll hope for ecstasies tomorrow in tomorrow's Daily Penguin. Thank you, BookTube.